with the expansion of the college football playoff, I think that's why you're starting to see teams in schools navigate like they are. So let's talk about, so Ty, I sent you the list of, SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12, and Pac 12, what it's going to look like for 2024. So talk to me a little bit about movements of schools. Were you surprised by the movements, or?
I was surprised of how the Pac-12 basically just demolished themselves. Just like
they just throwing the towel in.
Everybody just want to get out of the Pac-12. SEC is going to be a gauntlet. Big 12 is going to be a gauntlet. ACC is going to be a basketball gauntlet. Big 12 probably baseball gauntlet. But
because the ACC, they recently was talking to Pac-12 about having Cal and Stanford come over, and the ACC just basically said no, we don't want them. We don't want them. And I'm like you. I'm like, you need them though.
Yeah,
I truly believe the ACC needs Stanford. Like I said, because with the pedigree of who Stanford is as a football program, they, now granted they not running the table and winning championships and all that, but they're in football, they're a good school in football.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and versus anything else. And then Cal, I kind of understand Cal why you wouldn't want them, but I think it was one of those things like, hey man, if you take Stanford, you got to at least take one of our other schools. Yeah. Big 12, I think Big 12 is going to be very competitive now with what they have over there. I think, because, in this list, it says Power 5 football. I think it's only going to be two conferences. At first, it was just one conference, but I think now you're going to have two conferences. I think you're going to have the Big 10 and the SEC. I think those were all, where your best teams are going to come out of there versus, I think your second tier will be ACC. And then, of course, your Big 12 be second-tier teams as well, because you look at who's in those teams.
I think
those conferences.
What they expanded to 12, I think you can get 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big 12. That's 8.
Okay.
2 from ACC. That's 10.
And then 2 from Big 10?
Maybe
2 from the Big 10?
Maybe 1 from the Big 10.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Big 12.
Okay, I'm going to say, I'm thinking more –
I'm sorry, 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big 10.
And then 2
from the ACC.
And then 1 from the Big 12. Yeah.
And then
none from Pac-12.
None from Pac-12. You'll probably throw a team in there like Notre Dame or something like that.
Yeah, because they're still independent. And I know Stanford, I had heard before they started talking AC, they was talking about maybe doing the Notre Dame route, going independent too as well. So that way they can kind of move around and play in all the conferences and play against, really kind of pack up their schedule so they can have, like I said, if they can make it through a gauntlet, and now you can really say, okay, this is top 4 team in the country.
And then they can play teams all on the West Coast where they don't have to really travel.
They don't have to travel as much.
Yeah, you know how jet lag is going to be going from USC to Penn State for a Saturday day or night game?
Exactly.
You have to leave. You got to leave Thursday.
Well, let's say you have a Thursday night game or a Friday night game. You got to turn around and go play on Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah.
The amount of travel, like I said, I don't know logistically how these schools are going to do it. They're going to spend a lot of money doing it, but I don't know how that's going to affect the players as they go through that. Because like you said, if you're talking about I'm in Alabama and I got to go all the way to Ohio State to play, or I'm in, like I said, in Tallahassee and I got to drive across the country to LA to play. So it just, I don't know how they're gonna do, the travel and everything, and how that's gonna affect the performance of the players.
It's gonna be hard
because at the end of the day, that's what I'm more concerned about. How the players now. I think with the movements of these schools to these different conferences, I think it helps the players that are up for NIL deals, are your top prospects like Cam Williams for USC. Going to the big, well, he'll be gone, but at that time, because he'll come out next year or this season. But a school like that going to the Big 10, now you get to play against Michigan, you get to play against Michigan State, Ohio State, Oregon. I mean, so you get to play against you're already gonna play against USC, UCLA, and then of course Wisconsin, stuff like that. So I think that helps that resume for USC too as well, because I know in the Pac-12 they wasn't getting a lot of respect, even though last few seasons they've been pretty good the last few seasons. So it was very interesting to see who went where. I'm very shocked the ACC hasn't done nothing. I
was just looking at that. I was like, who did they add?
They didn't add anybody.
Or subtract.
They didn't add anybody. They didn't lose or add anybody. I know Clemson, Florida State have been, talking about possibly leaving the conference. I don't know where they go.
SEC.
So I'm about to say
that's the only way you can get better.
That's the only way you'll get better. Go play against the better comp, which is the SEC. Because I still think SEC is still the best conference.
Yeah.
With the new alignment, because you add Oklahoma, you add Texas.
Those are two.
I mean,
two multi-million.
Them two right there alone, just put them above everybody else.
Even I wasn't even thinking about like football or basketball, like softball for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Softball for Oklahoma versus Alabama now. That's gonna be a game.
That's what I'm saying.
A yearly game.
That's what I'm saying.
That's gonna be crazy.
So you add, and then you add baseball with Texas. You got Texas baseball team playing against Oklahoma, or playing against Auburn, or playing against Florida, because Florida got a great baseball team. So you know what I'm saying. All that, I think it's just going across the board for SEC is just gonna make their sports matchups even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very shocked. Like I said, being a Miami Hurricane fan, I was shocked to see that the ACC didn't do nothing. They didn't add, they didn't lose. But I was very, very, surprised by this, how much movement and how fast it's happened. With this off season we've seen. Now,